Hi, and welcome to the Sergeant Major of the Army's Army Birthday Town Hall. Today, we'll be taking questions from around the world, social media, and from our studio audience. I'm Sergeant Audrey Santana, and I'll be your host. Joining me in the studio today is Sergeant Major of the Army, Daniel Daly. Sergeant Major, thank you so much for being here, and welcome.
Thank you. Sergeant Santana, I just want to say thank you for giving me this great opportunity to be here and talk to soldiers, not just here in the studio, but across the Army.
All right, Sergeant Major, we have one from social media. What can civilians do to help support the brave men and women who volunteer on behalf of the people of the United States?
So can you repeat the question for me, please?
What can civilians do to help support the brave men and women who volunteer on behalf of the people of the United States?
And that's a great question.
Yes.
And thanks, Special Sergeant, for the question.
Sergeant Major, we have time for one more question. Okay. Time has just flown by. This one comes from social media, and we have about 2 minutes for this question. Okay. It seems to me we should not be downsizing, but increasing our strengths, better weapons, better protective gear, etc. So who is ultimately responsible for these changes, and how are the changes impacting readiness? What would the Army like to have more of to help it succeed?
That's a very good question, actually.
You have 2 minutes. Okay.
2 minutes. So I don't know if it might take me longer than 2 minutes to do this. What can I, well, first and foremost, I can assure you. Good job, man.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, Sergeant Major, for being here. Thank everyone who came, and thank you for watching. On behalf of the Defense Media Activity, I'm Sergeant Audrey Santana, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Sergeant. Good job.
That's great.
That worked great.
My brother is absolutely my best friend. It's amazing to have someone on my team, literally and figuratively, in every sense of the word. My name is Ryan Michael Franks. I'm a shooter/instructor for the United States Army Marksmanship Unit.
Sergeant First Class Patrick Wayne Franks Jr. I'm an instructor/shooter for the United States Army Marksmanship Unit. I think one of the most unique things about this team is that my brother is actually a part of this team. He's 10 years younger than I am.
My brother was always somebody that I looked up to. Always wanted to do what Patrick did. Patrick went shooting, I wanted to go shooting.
I'm probably harder on him than anybody else. There's at times where I probably shouldn't be as hard on him as I usually am.
No one knows me better, and that kind of goes against me sometimes because I can't get away with anything. But everything's done in brotherly love and friendship, and having my best friend with me all the time.
4 is 5.
It can't get better than this.
Usually we have a ritual. I come home, he's got a cup of coffee waiting for me.
We just drink coffee.
You know, and it's really nice. I mean, we'll sit down, we'll talk about the day's events.
Had a good little group going today until I put my screen up.
I am extremely proud of him. I believe that he has more potential in the long run than I think that I do right now.
It's almost like a privilege to be working not only with my brother, but with Sergeant First Class Franks, you know, the champion.
As the joint military exercise Talisman Sabre 2015 wraps up, we take a look at some key players behind the scenes.
We were part of a mixed American and Australian health support team who provided close health support to the airdrop.
Alrighty, how are you there, mate?
And it was really good to work in conjunction with the US Army medical personnel and treat real casualties.
Alrighty.
And it worked quite well working with them and the communications.
Over 400 paratroopers jumped into Australia to participate in the mass training event. With that many soldiers falling from the sky, it's imperative to be prepared.
I think it's quite important to train together because the US Army and Australian Army are often deployed together, and therefore it's really important that we train together also and make sure that our health support for future and current overseas operations are well rehearsed and practiced.
1, 2, 3.
For Soldiers Broadcasting at the Defense Media Activity, I'm Sergeant Audrey Santana.
Any tenderness?
CSST.
For a large-scale multinational exercise like Talisman Sabre 2015, it's important to acknowledge the little things that happen behind the scenes
More schnitzels.
that make the big things so successful.
Every army marches on its stomach.
For Lance Corporal Benjamin Jensen, it's all in a day's work.
The soldiers that we feed are the first priority. We always put ourselves second down.
This Camp Growl kitchen at the Shoalwater Bay training area in Queensland, Australia, feeds U.S. and Australian troops 3 square meals a day throughout the exercise, even the ones who are out in the field.
Well, they cook off all the food prior to going into the hot box. So there's a little TV dinner trays that we put them into, where we can do portion control so everybody gets the same amount and nobody gets overfed, obviously, and nobody misses out on anything.
The cook's slicing and dicing efforts in the kitchen can be overlooked by the troops, but it has a huge impact on the overall mission.
No job too small, no task too hard. You always hook in with the whole team and you get it done.
This week on iSoldier, we're in beautiful Australia with koalas, kangaroos, and paratroopers. These 25th ID paratroopers came all the way from Alaska to jump down under.
This jump is a part of Exercise Talisman Sabre, designed to build interoperability between U.S. and Australian forces. Sergeant Rachel Badgley had the chance to catch up with one of the paratroopers right after he landed.
Sergeant Badgley here with a paratrooper that just jumped into Australia. Can you tell me what you're doing here?
We're here for about a 10-day mission. We got one now, and then we got one a couple days after. And it's sort of working together with the Australians, showing them what we could do, them showing us what they could do, and that's pretty much it.
A key element to making operations such as this a success are provided by air and land capabilities working together.
We provided air support by giving more update information on exactly where opposing forces were in that scenario, and also being able to provide weapons effect wherever it would have been required, from liaison with the American JTACs that were on the ground at that particular moment in time.
The partnership between the Royal Australian Air Force Hawk pilots and the U.S. soldiers and airmen on the ground is just one example of the relationships built through this exercise.
As you go out and you look at the soldiers today, you look at the leadership, it's very apparent the trust, the relationship, and the partnership we have with the Australian military.
The only way to do this is integrated. You can't be 2 separate organisations. You've got to work together closely.
As the exercise comes to a close here in Australia and we head back to the States, we've seen partnership at its best from the lowest level of troops to the leadership behind the scenes. That does it for this episode of iSoldier. We'll see you next week back in America.
Cheers, mate.
No dramas.
Sweet days.
This week on iSoldier, we take you around the world for a look at the lighter side of being in the military. Engineers from the 18th Military Police Brigade stopped by the Vini family home in Estonia to build a playhouse for orphans. Platoon leader, 2nd Lieutenant Stephen Marusa, recognizes a good thing when he sees it.
Just getting out to meet the community and actually seeing the tangible benefits of us being here. And those are going to be some great memories that myself and all the soldiers are going to be able to take with them.
When service members move or deploy, pets are not usually their top priority. Many installations have a center where pets who are left behind have a chance at a new start with a new family. These pets are available for adoption. All you have to do is cover the vet fees.
No adoption fee, but there are fees for things like vaccinations, microchips, those types of things that you'll be responsible for.
For more information on how you can adopt a pet, visit your installation's Facebook page. Soldiers from the Big Red One got VIP access to the Kansas City Chiefs training camp. The troops, along with other service members, watched a practice and met with the players.
It's great that all these teams do this kind of thing. It really makes us feel good, and especially when the fans are out there clapping for us and everything like that. So it was a good experience.
Some of you may recognize this pro football player. Well, he gives us a little nod of recognition. Take a look.
Hello, I'm Corey Redding, and I play for the Arizona Cardinals, 13th year in the NFL, and you're watching iSoldier.
Hang on, no. Corey hooked us up with a shout out, and you can too. Go to the Soldiers Mag Facebook page and send us a shout out of your favorite football team. You might just see it on air. That does it for this episode. I'll see you next week on iSoldier.
Sergeant Audrey Santana, Soldiers Radio News. If you're wanting to send holiday packages to deployed soldiers, time is running out. The deadline for parcel airlift mail is December 3rd. For those willing to splurge a little, December 10th is the deadline for sending packages to most areas by priority mail and for sending letters or cards by first-class mail. After that, the only way to get it overseas in time for the holidays is by the Premium Priority Mail Express military service by December 17th. For more information, go to army.mil. At Fort Bragg, North Carolina, soldiers from the U.S. Army Operational Test Command provided training for jump masters from several nations in preparation for Operation Toy Drop. Special Operations Test Directed Air NCO Sergeant First Class Anthony Monaco.
When they get together and they're getting ready to get on the aircraft, they understand each other, and so they give the jumpers a feel of confidence and safety.
That's your Soldiers Radio News.
Hi, and thank you for joining me. I'm Sergeant Audrey Santana for the Defense Media Activity, and we're broadcasting live at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C. for the AUSA 2015 Annual Meeting and Exposition. There are thousands of people here, thousands that come every year, over 28,000 people that come here annually, hundreds of vendors. And for a live stream of what's going on around AUSA, you can go to army.mil. Army.mil has all of your latest Army information. They have the latest photos and articles. One article that I did see up this morning on the front page was Chief of Staff of the Army Mark Milley gave an amazing speech yesterday where he talked about his top priorities. Number one being, and always will be while he's in office, is readiness. Readiness to win in a complex world. And to win in a complex world, you need to fight in a complex world. We have a video showing just that.